Hey everybody, it's Chris with Lazy Trucker Disc Golf Reviews, presented by Hazy Shade in Dayton, Ohio. Today we're going to be looking at the Axiom Discs Proxy. Obviously, Simon leaving and Discmania and going to MVP is probably the biggest news in the last few weeks of disc golf. So we're going to take a look at a few of the discs in his bag. When he did his first in the bag, there were a few discs that stuck out to me based on his description. So I talked to Hazy Shade about doing a series of reviews, just pointing out some of those molds, bringing some attention to them. And the Proxy stuck out to me as a good starting point. Simon was talking about the putters, and he went over the Envy, which James Conrad made very famous a couple years ago. And then he got to the Proxy and talked about it as like the little brother and a line shaper. And I love shaping lines with putters in the woods. So that was a logical place to start. I went to my local shop, Disc Crazy Outdoor and More. They put this disc in my hands and said, go review it. So thank you to them for that as well. Now, the numbers on the Proxy are 3, 3, -1, and 0.5. I found it to be very neutral flyer for me. So the first time I threw it at 60%, it went flat and faded just a touch. When I started powering it up, what I found was if I released it here and expected it to flip, it was actually going to stay here on straight for a little bit, but it was going to hold that slight hyzer. And if I threw it tipped over, it was going to just hold that turn. That is, to me, the definition of a line shaping disc. The angle of release impacts the line of the disc. So in the field, I would throw it on hyzer, or I would throw it on Annie and just expect that to hold. And then I took it to the woods and I got very similar results. So if you are looking for a disc to shape lines, this might be a good choice for you. Two caveats. One, I throw about 400 feet max with my distance drivers. So if you throw farther than that, it's going to be a little bit less understable. If you throw shorter than that, it might be a little bit more overstable. So make that adjustment. And two, this is a premium plastic putter, so make the adjustment. If you have baseline, it might be slightly different. I don't know that, but it might be. Now the shape of this disc is very flat top with that premium core and blunt edge wing. That flat top made it very comfortable in my hand. I tend to have a mental block with premium putters. There's just something there, but the flat top made my thumb a little more comfortable, and it made it a little bit more comfortable forehand. You're not going to see forehand because I'm still working on that, especially for putters, but just know that. For comparison discs in this video, you will definitely see two Latitude discs. I did spend the last nearly decade with Trilogy, so you're going to see a Pure. That's my main comparison. You know, it's got that nice blunt edge wing, pretty close to the Proxy in feel and flight. And then a Keystone as well. Another blunt edge, but a little bit more understable. You're going to see me have to shape that one, or adjust that one more on the shapes. The Gateway Magic might also show up, I'm not sure, so don't be surprised if it does. But overall, Proxy, line shaping disc. I think Simon nailed it on that description. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below. As always, thank you to Hazy Shade for the sponsorship. Thank you to Disc Crazy for the disc. Let's go Red Wings, and thanks for watching. Here we have wing profiles. You can see the lower wing of the Pure is a little bit sharper, and it slopes more at the top, and the Proxy is super flat. As I mentioned, you can see just how flat they are. The Keystone here is a little bit more rounded, more blunted and taller, obviously. Again, not as flat as the Proxy. And here we have the Magic. Probably the bluntest of them all, and a very unique lower wing, again taller than the Proxy. Out to the field, this is that first throw I was telling you about 70%, 65-70% power, and the disc just, it turned a little bit in the air, but you could see just how flat it stayed. And then I powered it up a little bit, and I was expecting this to hyzer flip, but you can see how it just held that line on the hyzer the whole time. Here is just a hyzer throw. You can see it's going to just keep fading, about 250 here. And then this was the surprising throw. I got a really clean Annie release on this disc, and it just keeps drifting, and this one went about 285. That is the farthest throw I had with the Proxy overall. Out to the course, here we go versus the Pure on a Pure and hyzer line. You can see I turned the Pure a little bit more. I put it up higher as well, so it drifted farther right. Here is going to be an attempt at a hyzer line, and you're going to see the Pure is going to pop up. Neither one of these discs get to the target. The Pure is going to hit that tree branch and kick down. The Proxy hit a tree as well. But you can see how the Proxy was holding that hyzer line better than the Pure. And here's another example of that. Me trying to throw the disc fairly flat. The Proxy, I was expecting to hyzer flip. It just stayed on the hyzer the whole time. The Pure did hyzer flip and come out and is going to fade back to the basket. Proxy just has it holds the release angle a little bit better, and was pretty consistent. Here's the Keystone. Again, I released the Keystone higher than the Proxy on this turnover line. But I also think it was just more understable. Here's a good example of that. Proxy thrown fairly flat, just a little bit of hyzer release. Keystone thrown with hyzer release. Keystone's going to straighten up and go flat a lot longer, stay straighter longer because of that. a lighter throw here. This is not nearly as long a throw, so much softer. And you're going to be able to see the finish here. Proxy is starting to fade because I put a little bit of hyzer on it. Keystone stays right of the basket. And here we go again. Keystone thrown fairly flat on the right side is going to just keep drifting right, whereas the Proxy, even though I gave it a little bit of turn, ends up fading out just a touch. That was kind of surprising to me. I was expecting it to hold the ante the entire way, but just a little more stability than the Keystone. And I did decide to use the Magic. Here is a good example, me turning the Magic versus me turning the Proxy. The Proxy was lower on this trajectory, but both of them ended up pretty close. Here we go again. I'm going to turn the Proxy more, and you can watch it just hold that line, whereas the Magic was more of a straight line throw on this, but they're going to end up in similar spots. You can see the Magic actually in the Proxy's landing zone as it lands. And one last one. Again, Magic just kind of thrown flat, whereas the Proxy is started on slight ante. It's going to hold that line and just buzz the basket. Magic is going to fade out just a touch at the end. Once again, I want to thank my sponsor Hazy Shade for making this set of reviews possible. I really appreciate the support you've given me over the years, so make sure to hit up their website, hazyshade.com. Also, thank you to Disc Crazy in New Albany, Indiana. If you're in New Albany, make sure you stop by. You might get to pet the dog, and there's a dye bar there, so it's pretty cool. Very quick recap, the Proxy in Plasma Plastic is, as Simon described, a very good line shaping thrower. If you're looking for a putter that you can put on a line and it'll hold, this may be the disc for you. If you like this video, please feel free to like it, share it, or subscribe to the channel, and as always, thanks for watching.